Welcome back. Well, long before the announcement came in Ferguson, we had scheduled time this morning to talk about a new book from the Chancellor of the Wayne County Community College District, Dr. Curtis Ivery, along with his son Marcus Ivery. Turns out to be a very opportune time because Dr. Ivery is a national leader in the problems facing urban America. The book that he and Marcus have written is called Black Fatherhood, Reclaiming Our Legacy. And very happy to have both of the authors here this morning. Great to have you here.
Well,
Thanks for joining me here.
Thank you.
Dr. Ivery, let me start with you and just let you reflect a little bit on what we've seen out of Ferguson. There really is at the heart of this a story of another disaster for a young Black American man, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think it probably underscores what comes out of what I'd like to refer to as concentrated poverty, poor education, healthcare issues, and at the heart of it, and somehow it's about family. It's about an informed construct. It's about helping those in the community understand that we have to work with our young people, and we have to ensure that the appearance of equity, equality is always important. But more than that, I just believe that somehow we as a people, even this young man I didn't know, but in many ways I did know him, and I feel some responsibility as an educator to ensure that other young men are not don't find themselves in a similar situation.
Well, in fact, Marcus, because regardless of how we feel about the officer's decision, we got to find a way to get that young man out of that moment where an officer is making a decision about your life.
Exactly. I think that's key in terms of what led up to the incident, what transpired, what different actions could have been done or taken in order to prevent the situation. How could it have been de-escalated? And I think that's a conversation or discussion that really needs to take place.
Well, this is I think this is a beautiful book, first off, produced by Beaufort Books out of New York. And I think it's fascinating, the topic that you've got. But Dr. Ivery, the reclaiming our legacy. Because I think there's a sense among some that Black fathers have never been there enough in the Black community in America. You see it very differently.
Well, I think there are two pieces here. I certainly would want us to debunk the notion that Black fathers, as a rule, are not there for their children. I think in a large sense they are. But when we talk about statistics, and when we have the numbers that suggest that 60% of the households are fatherless in the Black community, that underscores a problem. And we have to have a conversation about it. To ignore it and to suggest that it's not a problem would be nonsense. And I want to encourage the discussion. And I hopefully the book will lend to that discussion and conversation.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, the writing of this book together told you a lot, I think, about your relationship with your father, Marcus. I have a hard time figuring out where I would be today without my father's still my compass in a lot of ways. I think you, it seems to me from the book that you feel the same way, but when we talk about almost 2/3 of Black households not having a father around, that's asking a lot for, I mean, because where would you be without your father, do you suppose?
My father's definitely had a very significant impact, influence in my life. Just from early on, my father's always been there for me, and not just for me, but I've always seen his purpose in terms of the sense of community with my friends.
The example, sure.
Exactly, the example that he set, whether it was coaching a Little League team, involved in the activities at our church, but he's always been there. So I think for me, just the overall influence I've had and the counsel that I've had from him from day to day as a child, and even as you mentioned, still to this day, has definitely had a pretty profound impact on me.
Dr. Ivery, my hunch is that there are a lot of people who will gravitate toward the ideas and this book, but they're the ones who probably maybe are already in. They already feel that there's a certain responsibility that goes with being a father, and they want to be a good father. How do you reach the people, though, who are so far beyond the ideas that you're trying to put forward, the ones who have checked out of their kids' lives? How do we get there?
There are those who've checked out, but I don't think that should be a reason not to try. We should reach out, and although it's sometimes cliche to say one person or one child at a time, I think we have to embrace that. And if it is one child at a time, we'll take that one child. We'll take two, we'll take three. But we've got to be committed to the notion that our young people are important. And so much of their development happens early on.
Yes.
If we don't get things done by the age of 6, we've lost that child in many instances. So it's important to have that father as a part of that child's life early on. I mean, we talk about, well, the parent will come in and visit from time to time. Well, I met my father for the first time. I will hear people say after I'd finished high school, or at some point in my teen years, but that sometimes it's awfully late.
It's interesting. It means reaching kids early means we also got to reach dads early, too.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, we're going to move our conversation over to clickondetroit.com. We got a lot more that I want to talk about this book, Black Fatherhood, Reclaiming Our Legacy. Again, it's just out this month from Beaufort Press. It really is a beautiful book, beautiful pictures, terrific forward, and you got a lot of great help on it from a lot of people. In fact, people like Dr. Cornel West talking about it on the back as well. So we'll continue that over on clickondetroit.com. Meet the Press coming up next. We'll see you next time right back here on Flashpoint.